Hello, guys. Today we're going to be talking about the degradation of coral reefs, specifically the Great Barrier Reef. First, we're going to start off with some historical background. The Great Barrier Reef is the youngest reef in the world, with its earliest beginning around 600,000 years ago, and the modern Great Barrier Reef forming around 9,500 years ago. The drift contributed to the formation of the Great Barrier Reef. Australia was connected to Antarctica but then split and drifted north. At that time, corals were not flourishing due to cool water, but then 600,000 years ago, the northernmost parts of the Great Barrier Reef began to form. The continental movements allowed warm water and coral larvae to move and assist with coral growth. The primary growth period was around 9,500 years ago. It also has extensive cultural history. The Aboriginal and Torres Strait people built sheep bark canoes to travel around the sea, especially the reefs. 400 years ago, the first European sailed the waters of the Great Barrier Reef, Captain James Cook. He recorded the first written descriptions of the Great Barrier Reef in his journal during a voyage in 1770. Tourism was made possible by modern technology, leading to exploitative activities such as shell collecting and turtle riding. In 1975, the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Act was passed because of the protests against oil drilling in the reef. In 2004, a zoning system was developed. The reef is split into 4 sections, and each of these sections have various zones that dictate what activities can and cannot happen. Next, we're going to talk about this temporal scale that outlines the mass bleachings that have happened over the past 25 years of the Great Barrier Reef. In 1998 was the first mass bleaching, with 54% of the coral reef being bleached. Then in 2005, 98% was bleached. In 2016, 20% was bleached. In 2020, 25% was bleached. And in 2022, 60% was bleached. Next, we have a geographical scale that helps to outline where the Great Barrier Reef is. As you can see, is off to the coast of Australia, and I gave a margin here to kind of help with measuring how big it is. So 1 inch equals 350.25 miles. Next, we're going to talk about the statistics. So first, we're going to have the baseline statistics. So based on the world's most extensive time series data on reef condition, which with 2014 surveys of the reef, there shows a major decline in coral reef cover from 28% to 13.8%, a loss of 50.7% of initial coral cover. The northern Great Barrier Reef declined slightly from 35.7 compared to the 36.5%. The central Great Barrier Reef declined slightly to 30.8% from 32.6%. And in the southern Great Barrier Reef declined from 33.8% to from 33.9%. And then we have the projected statistics. So the northern region 39.5 up from 35.8. For the central region 34% from 30.7, and in the southern region 39.1% up from 34%. Seagrass abundance either improved or remained stable in around 60% of the sites monitored between 2020 and 2023. Seabirds, sharks, and rays and sea snakes remained in poor condition. Marine turtles are in poor condition, and population declines are reported in most species other than the southern green turtles and eastern Queensland flatbacks. A number of habitats remain in very good condition overall, including mangroves and islands. So even though I was only asked for 3 statistics, the statistics for the Great Barrier Reef is very complex because it's split into 3 zones: the central, southern, and northern. So I wanted to provide extensive statistics for each of those sections, so that's why I kind of have a lot of detail here. But here is the actual graph of 3 main statistics. So, proposed or running solutions. Zoning is an important component when attacking how to approach managing an issue. The Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Act establishes a systematic process for zoning plans, clearly defining the extent and types of zones, providing a strong legislative basis. In addition, conservation and management objectives need to be clearly defined within the different zones, and the activities that can be undertaken within the zones need to be clearly defined. Engaging stakeholders in the Great Barrier Reef issues such as climate change is an important strategy. NBS strategies are aimed at reestablishing sexually reproducing and genetically diverse populations. More proposed solutions: engaging people in climate change reduction and mitigation strategies essential to reducing human impacts on climate and increasing the resilience of social ecological systems to climate change impacts. Nature based solutions, NBS, there is coral restoration plus limestone, and restorations plus 3D printed concrete could deliver positive outcomes for coastal protection and further incentivize cost sharing for reef conservation with private beneficiaries. Individuals on a small scale can help too by reducing their carbon footprint by using public transportation, biking, walking, or even roller skating. More proposed solutions. Get financing and private sector's investments for NBS strategies, as we talked about on the previous slide. Strategies involved internal organization management, innovation leading to an ability to coordinate the scientific community, to increase public awareness of environmental issues and problems, to involve a broader set of stakeholders, and to maneuver the political system for support at critical times. The transformation process was induced by increased pressure on the Great Barrier Reef that triggered a new sense of urgency to address these challenges. Coral Nurture Program uses the skills of tourism personnel who work on the reef to collect broken coral fragments, attach them to underwater farms where they will grow faster, and then outplant them on the reef. It's called the Coral Nature Program, where people plant to help the coral grows. There's also technology and innovation. We have the novel seeding devices allow delivery of the corals to reefs in a way that enhances their production, paving the way for a larger field. And then you can help on a small scale by reducing your carbon footprint by using public transportation, biking, walking, or even roller skating. Then we have solutions, existing legislation, and grassroots activism. The Great Barrier Reef Foundation and what they are doing to help. So, the Great Barrier Reef Foundation is preserving the genetic biodiversity of the coral reef by creating coral banks. They collect, analyze, and freeze the sperm and eggs of key coral species so that later they can thaw them, grow baby corals, and transplant them back on the reef to restore and repopulate it. They have pioneered the largest rehabilitation project in the Southern Hemisphere. They brought together traditional owners, scientists, and local tourism leaders to restore critical island habitats. Restoring with coral IVF, coral spawns once a year, and many of the resulting embryos die before settling onto the reefs. During annual spawning events, the researchers capture millions of coral eggs and sperm and rear baby corals in specially designed floating pools on the reef and tanks. When they are ready, they deliver them onto damaged reefs to restore and repopulate them. Next, we have legislation. Australia's 2050 plan, which focuses on 5 areas: limit the impacts of climate change, reduce the impacts from land based activities, reduce impacts from water limit based activities, influence the reduction of international sources of impact, protect, rehabilitate, and restore. The Great Barrier Marine Act of 1975 provides the establishment, control, care, and development of the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park, and established the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority, and provides for zoning plans and plans of management, and regulates, including by a system of permissions, use of Great Barrier Reef Marine Park in ways consistent with ecosystem based management and the principles of ecologically sustainable use. It facilitates the partnership of traditional owners with management of marine resources and facilitates the collaborative approach to management of the Great Barrier Reef World Heritage Area with the Queensland Government. Then there's the Australian Marine Debris Initiative, aka known as the AMDI, is an on-ground network of volunteers, communities, and organizations that contribute data from rubbish collected during beach and river cleanup events in the ADMI database, and then work on solutions to stop the flow of litter at the source. And then lastly, we have our summary. There are many funding options available, such as grants, programs, and partnerships. Accelerated grants provide up to $2.7 million in community-led activities. Integrated engagement and capacity building project provides $5,000 to $20,000 for projects that improve reef water quality and sustainable farming practices. Next, we have barriers. Many landholders do not believe the problem is that important to see as a threat to their business. Poor water quality is a huge barrier. Land pollution flows into waterways onto the reef. Climate change has led to rising levels of carbon dioxide and trapping heat into the atmosphere. Coastal development and water pollution such as trash and plastic making its way onto the ocean. Though there are roadblocks, the Great Barrier Reef is extremely important and irreplaceable, both at a large scale and a small scale. If humans can come together, we can save it. I really hope we can get the Great Barrier Reef looking healthy again. As you can see in this picture, on you can see all the dead coral, and I really hope that we can get it to looking healthy like it does in the other photo. Here are my references for the actual source is used, and then we have my photo references for all the photos I used. Thank you.